Hi, welcome back to my channel. I usually say just simply that, welcome back, but I thought I'd ask, how are you doing? That's what I usually ask when I meet somebody in person, and I want to seem like we're two people talking with each other, or actually me doing most of the talking. I wanted to talk today about reunions. My high school reunion is coming up, should be coming up next year. 2024. I graduated in 1994, and I've been on Facebook, and there's been some chatter about having the reunion, but the way these things go, you never know until it's actually confirmed in a date and a place. So I wanted to talk about reunions because I imagine you've either gone to a reunion already or you're going to go to a reunion sometime in your life. And it's an emotional experience. There are all sorts of common emotions that people feel. In fact, one of my favorite movies, Romeo and Michelle's High School Reunion, is about a reunion, obviously. And there's another movie, Grosse Point Blank, which also deals with a reunion coming up. And there's similar feelings about going back to revisit the past, seeing how much you've progressed or seeing how little you've progressed. And come to think of it, they do touch on it a little bit in The Wedding Singer with Adam Sandler, too, a little bit, although that doesn't feature a reunion. Yeah, I don't know if it's noticeable, but my hair, well, yesterday evening, I was doing cosplay, and I was using like a gel kind of thing, and so it got into my hair, and hopefully didn't do a number on my face. But uh, I don't know if synchronicity is the best word for it, but there ought to be a term for it when you're going in to do something, like I'm producing this video. It's all about appearances and looking your best, and something aside kind of throws you off or causes you to be concerned. So, like, I'm going into this video talking about times in my past in high school, being judged and looked at by other classmates, and here I am about to talk about it, and I have this thing with gel, whatever. It kind of thematically, I guess, matches what I'm about to talk about. Uh, like I said, there ought to be a word for it. So I wasn't really popular, at least I didn't consider myself very popular in high school, and I have several different thoughts about the reunion. I've gone to the past reunion. I've already given the date, so you know it's my 30th. I went to my 5th, which is actually pretty extraordinary that they would have a 5-year high school reunion. And there was a 10-year high school reunion, and I had something else, so I couldn't go to my 20th. And I've wondered whether that was whether I was really missing anything. I remember I had a bad experience at my 10th high school reunion. What did you think about high school reunions? If you did go to one, was it what you expected? I had seen Romeo and Michelle's High School Reunion and Grosse Point Blank before going to this one, and I expected it to be in the high school. I expected us to go back to high school and to walk around and so forth, have a party, of course. And it wasn't. I remember the 5-year high school reunion was, come to think of it, maybe the 5-year high school reunion was in the high school. It was a 10-year high school reunion where we were at a restaurant, or kind of a bar restaurant place. I didn't have a good experience there. I walked around, and I wanted to talk with people. They were all involved in their own cliques and their own chatter, and that's what I'm concerned about. Uh, I have mixed feelings, like I said. I I want to show people, just like in senior year of high school, I want to show people that I have a true side that they never really got to see. And I'm concerned, to be honest, that I'll go in and I won't have progressed as much or as farther. It's really weird for somebody that prides himself on English grammar and so forth to not know the difference between farther or further in this case. But anyway, all right, I'll go out on a limb. I haven't progressed as far as I anticipated in life. Um, and so going back to high school, I know, well, going, all right, I tend to have all these thoughts at once. Going back to high school, I'm expecting them to have been married already, have kids, have their own lives. It's basically like Facebook. That's what I'm expecting because I followed some people on Facebook and I know what they've been doing. At least I know what they've been broadcasting on Facebook. Um, and I've gotten those signs of progress and how I felt left behind um, all along all these years, starting with college. You know, after high school graduation, there was that little bit of a summer, and then I started early for college in August of '94, and it took me 5 years going part-time, but I got 2 degrees, 2 bachelor's degrees, and above all, I want them to know that I worked hard for what I got, and I have this feeling, I have had this feeling that um, as much as I've progressed, my own case, my own sense of things, I've achieved things that I'm proud of. It's like that Madonna screenplay project. I'm concerned that they will look at me and not see any of that. They will see somebody dressed approximately like this, and then they'll say hi and they'll walk away and just go back to their clique or whatever, and nobody would be interested in talking with me. And that's a trope, isn't it? That I've talked with some people asking them whether they've gone to their high school reunion, and they've said no, that they didn't really have an interest in going back. I don't know whether that's out of fear or whatever, or concern, the same concern I'd have. But I'm brave enough and the desire to at least try to see if other people are interested in talking with me and learning what I've been up to. And not only learning what I've been up to, but learning things about me that they've missed out on learning. That's why I've published some memoir material on Amazon, and I've been more open, a lot more open about myself online, and that's skirted a concern maybe in terms of revealing too much about myself. But above all, I want people to know what I'm really like, and like I deserve more than what I'd gotten in terms of sociability. So like reciprocal, social socialness. I deserve more than I got in high school, and maybe everybody has had that experience. That's something that Romy and Michelle's high school reunion really, explored. Not to a great degree, of course, it was a comedy, but it did explore that. It was more than just Romy and Michelle that were experiencing it. They learned that other people in their class had also experienced it, but never showed signs to Romy nor Michelle that they were feeling the same way. Um, so, all right. So I haven't thought about high school a lot. I've thought about certain experiences in high school quite a bit, and I've mentioned what I'd like people to remember me for. I'm thinking about the impression I get. I don't even know where we would be. I'm guessing it's probably at a restaurant somewhere, hopefully nearby. Um, but I've thought about going, it'd be something special to actually go back and have it at the high school itself. Um, there's something very fitting about it. Um, I thought about going in and seeing them, and I'm concerned, like I said before, it would turn into a high school thing again, where with all these different cliques, and nobody would come say hi to me, or at least want to spend time talking with me. Um, I don't know how. I've said in an earlier video that there were a couple of girls that said that after much like this is recently within the past 7 years, that they had wanted or wished that they had talked with me in high school. That's nice. I didn't know that. So I'm not. I guess there's not that much more to say. It's only 11, almost 12 minutes, really. I don't. Let me pause, see if I have other ideas. Hold on. I think in my case, knowledge and maturity go together. I was thinking about how much knowledge I had picked up, how much awareness I have of the world around me. Have you thought about this, going back to relive your high school days, at least in terms of classwork, at least in terms of being educated, sitting in the classroom? I thought I could really, ace these things, but then again, it's kind of a cheat because I know much more about math and science and so forth, and I guess I'm more open to it. It's kind of a cheat. I also wanted to mention that there's a former classmate who pointed out that we all have different things that we going on in our lives, despite the fact that we put on a show. At least I don't put that much of a show. I think I'm more open about and like obvious about how I feel and where I am in life. But she pointed out that like, for example, she pointed out a certain person from our class that's gone through a really difficult experience, despite the fact that she shows on Facebook that everything's happy and very comfortable, higher class of living. That behind the scenes, they're really traumatic events, and I didn't know this. And so her point was that people may put on, I don't want to say facade because that sounds fake, that sounds disingenuous, but they put on a better, they show themselves in a better light than what may be lurking behind the scenes. And when I see them on Facebook in that better light, it makes me feel as though they don't feel like they really want to talk to me, and like I'm beneath them, I'm outside, and to well, really, that's it, basically. Right, and two, that I haven't progressed as far as I wanted to. Um, in high school, um, I figured that sometime I would graduate from college. I may even be in Los Angeles going to college. But I'd graduate from college and I'd get a job as a staff writer on a TV show because at that point that's what I really wanted to do, and that's why it feels so awkward and uncomfortable. It's almost like it's not me. I felt like I've been pretending. I would write these spec scripts. Now, a spec script is when you write. It's short for speculative script. It's a television script that you write for an existing TV show, and you use it as a marketing tool for yourself. Like, this is a sample of my work. So I would write these spec scripts. Night Court, I wrote one. I know I've mentioned this before, but Night Court, and I wrote one for Star Trek: The Next Generation, and a few other ones. Spin City, and in high school, I tried to get lists of agencies to represent me as a talented writer, to try and get something produced. And silly me, I didn't know that what you shouldn't do is write a spec script and then send it into the producers of that same show. But I think I was doing well. I was precocious. I was ambitious. It showed that I was working hard and I was trying, and that's what I wish people would know. Not the fact that I'm not working in the industry that I wanted to. What I imagined myself doing, like I said, was working in Los Angeles as a staff writer in the television industry, and soon after that, gaining enough experience and enough status to be able to create TV shows of my own. Because outside of school, that was one of many hobbies that I had, and interests and endeavors. It's probably the best word for it. It's one of the many endeavors that I was working towards. I wasn't just dreaming about it. I was actively trying to get there, and I saw myself as ambitious. So it really saddens me that through all that I have nothing. Well, maybe it's a broad stroke to say I have nothing to show for it. I can hear some classmate, I mean, nobody in particular, but just hypothetically, I can imagine some classmates saying, don't cut yourself short, or don't put yourself down, don't sell yourself short. You've done a lot. But there's that constant thought that other people will look at me and they'll see this guy who got a driver's license, has a car, is working 2 part-time jobs, and has my own place, has gone through a lot, has gone through my mom, discovering my mom dead, having to move approximately a month and something after that, find a place on his own. Somebody who got a job at CNN shortly after graduating from college, and finding, without telling my mom, finding a place to live in Atlanta, Georgia, and moving there on my own, earning enough money to be able to move there, not having enough money, of course, to eat every day, but moving all the way down there. I want to demonstrate so badly. I want to demonstrate that I'm competent, I'm smart, I'm kind, and all those other attributes I'm not thinking of at the moment. And I guess that's what high school reunions may be about to a lot of people. Maybe you can put down in the comments if you feel the same way, or if you've been to your high school reunion yet, any one of them, or just experiences in general. And I'll talk with you again. I have some ideas for further videos. I do plan to do a follow-up video on how to watch Star Wars. I've already created a how to watch Star Wars video. It's recently, should be a couple of episodes or something before this one, a couple of videos before or so before this video. But I didn't want to touch into spoiler territory. I was pretty careful, excuse me, I was pretty careful about that. So there are some things, though, having watched first-time reactions on YouTube by people who are seeing Star Wars for the first time, there are some things I'd like to comment on and that would necessitate spoilers. So I figured, okay, I'm going to make a spoiler alert video for those people who have seen Star Wars, or I hope not, don't care whether they are being spoiled in terms of information and they haven't seen Star Wars. I hope not. I hope that they actually do want to see Star Wars and don't want to see this upcoming video yet. That will spoil things. Then afterwards, of course, you can watch the spoiler content. I also want to follow up on that part 1 video I also made recently about something about the Pentateuch, the 5 books of Moses, and what I think is the true origin, so far, what I think is the true origin of Judaism, Kabbalah, and the Pentateuch, the 5 books of Moses. It's something very difficult to explain to somebody because we're living in a society right now that's not very religious, or at least not very aware of the Bible. Of course, I understand when I say the Bible, it's Jewish, the Jewish Bible, and Christians are aware of the Hebrew Bible, the Jewish Bible, but it's not the Bible for every culture. I understand that, but for that community, that Christian community and that Jewish community, it makes things difficult because many of them are not really observant, that many of them are ignorant. I'll just say ignorant of what it even says in the Bible, or what Kabbalah is, or these other things. And so I have this, I always have this disconnect, this feeling of disconnect, because I'll be talking over their heads, and even though it's something very passionate in me. Well, anyway, hopefully that'll change by watching part 1 of my video. I was going to do just a follow-up part 2 video on figuring out how, summarizing what I suspect happened to create what we recognize to be Judaism and Kabbalah and the Pentateuch, the 5 books of Moses. But it's very awkward in the sense that it's very complex, which is very interesting, but it makes putting it together into one video pretty tricky. And I didn't want to spend time. I have these thoughts, like, for example, just it's going to turn into part 2 automatically. But bear with me for a moment. Earlier today at work, I was thinking through Greek history. I was thinking of Aristotle and Plato, Socrates, and Alexander the Great, also known as Alexander the Third, and placing these people in history in this certain timeline, because the timeline is very crucial to what I'm going to talk about. I'm guessing that the 5 books of Moses were written in about 270 BCE, and there were certain influential people that helped to bring it about, indirectly and directly. So I was thinking of that, but then there's another aspect of it, the work of Stan Tenen and his Meru Foundation, MERU, that talks about the structure, the underlying structure, the cosmology, I guess you'd want to say it. There's an underlying structure of God that he suspects was there all along and was given in like cloaked way, cloaked sense of cloak. You know, it was cloaked, kind of cloaked references in the 5 books of Moses and in Judaism and in Kabbalah in general. It's fascinating, but it's very involving just to explain his work. And then you have this website, chaver.com, CHAVER.com, by Mel Klein, or Moshe Klein, that explains the layout of the 5 books of Moses graphically. He found a way that it probably was intended to be seen visually as well as a linear text of story. And that's fascinating. And these people have presented their information, you know, all the evidence and so forth. It's fascinating reading on their websites, but it's a lot to put into one video. In addition to explaining Aristotle and Socrates and the timeline and the Babylonians and the Mesopotamians and Alexander the Great and Alexander the Third and so forth. So I figure I'm going to need to create a series of short videos, hopefully short videos, about it. So look forward to that, and maybe skipping a third topic for a video that I want to do, but I'll be recording these very soon, probably one right after I record this one. So stay tuned. Hope you have a good day, and bye for now.